I bet you'll have never heard about this flagship phone. When you hear about a new flagship phone, you'll probably think of the usual players like Samsung's Galaxy Ultra line, the iPhone Pro Max, and the triple threat combo of Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo, making devices with insane camera hardware. But I bet you'll never think about the phone I'm about to show you, the Sharp Aquos R9 Pro. I've been using this device as my main phone for the past 6-7 months. Yes, it's from Sharp, a pretty low-key phone brand compared to the other industry titans, and the phone isn't even named Ultra. So what makes it a flagship and what makes it not quite the ultimate device? Let's take a look. If you like the show, help the channel grow with a like and a sub. You're watching Lumerion, and let's get into it. If we're talking about design aesthetics, the R9 Pro is up there with the greats. You have this stealthy black exterior that, unlike most modern phones, it does not try to round out the corners or curve the glass, making it feel like thinner than what it is. The R9 Pro is a chunky flagship and it owns it with these squared off lines, solid aluminum that wraps into the back on one side, and a flat display. Now, I'm not sure what it's made of, but the back has this sort of textured feel that is quite rugged, and it adds some personality instead of just normal glass. And it also makes some interesting sounds when you scratch it too. Yeah, just hear that. And of course, how could I not mention that gigantic camera module showing off the ultra level cameras inside. You can also attach a magnetic ring to this camera bump, letting you attach filters to the R9 Pro or a lens cap to protect it. Make no mistakes though, there is an ultra camera in here. Press and hold the dedicated 2-stage shutter button and you'll fire up the cameras on the R9 Pro. Now, you've probably heard of 1-inch type sensors in flagships being the pinnacle of smartphone cameras, but the R9 Pro, it has an even larger than 1-inch main sensor. I think it's 1/0.98 inches or something, and it gets me some of the most impressive photos I've ever seen from a smartphone, with nice detailing and natural bokeh that you can only get from a larger image sensor. The colors on this camera are also interesting. It naturally has this teal and orange shift to all of its photos, even in RAW files, making for some very stylish output that I can further tweak in post. And this main sensor, it also has an upgrade over the previous Sharp flagships, in that it finally has OIS support. But that's not all. The R9 Pro is also equipped with a very potent 3x telephoto sensor, coming in at 1/1.56 inches. Now that's about the same telephoto sensor size as the newly released Xperia 1 Mark 8. And Sharp already got here in 2024. Whereas Sony, well, they really took their sweet time, huh? This telecamera kicks out really nice photos as well, and it works really well when you want to separate your subject from busy backgrounds. During my time with this phone, I've actually used the telephoto even more than the main camera. It's that good. And you know the coolest part about all of this? Both the main and telephoto cameras can capture full 50 megapixel RAW files, giving you incredible headroom and resolution to tweak your photos in post, with the caveat that each RAW file is about 100 megabytes. Oh boy. The only letdown of this camera system is going to be the ultra-wide unit, coming from the Lights 2 with its single wide-angle 1-inch sensor that captures amazing landscape shots. This new ultra-wide on the R9 Pro is like less than half the sensor size, and also not stabilized. I mean, it still works well enough in daylight scenarios, but it isn't quite up to par in low light situations. Now, combined with the Motion Pro camera app, you can actually capture amazing high bitrate uncompressed videos on this phone. And I've been using the R9 Pro on and off to capture B-roll footage across a bunch of my recent videos. Alright, so the cameras on the R9 Pro are certainly flagship tier, but how about everything else? The display is also really good. Earlier phones from Sharp had these really bad screens with many issues like burn-in and dead pixels everywhere. Oh man, but the R9 Pro has completely solved these issues. You get a 6.7-inch, 120Hz, 2K IGZO OLED panel, outputting nice and vibrant colors with natural contrast instead of the garish gamma levels of the previous generations. And I've used this phone for 6 months without any issues. I know that doesn't sound too impressive, but when last gen Sharp phones started getting burn-in just a few hours out of the box, this is actually a massive improvement, okay? About the only misgiving I have here is that the bezels are still a bit thick compared to other Ultra phones from Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi. The speaker output has also seen a welcomed improvement, giving loud stereo speakers that also have bassy and quality sound, now with Dolby Atmos built in as well. So in terms of capturing media through the cameras and watching media through its screen and speakers, yeah, the R9 Pro's got you covered. Software on the R9 Pro is also solid. It's mostly just stock Android, but with a few added tricks like the aforementioned Dolby Atmos support, setting a charge limit to prolong battery health, and just neat features like auto scroll support for reading news articles. Overall stability and smoothness of this phone on Android 15 has been really good. I haven't encountered any crippling bugs. I guess aside from the first week of using this phone when I was when it was figuring out which apps to keep in the RAM, but after that it's been pretty smooth sailing for me. The R9 Pro launched with Android 14 and is guaranteed for 3 years of OS updates. That's not the best policy, but it's decent for a Japanese brand, I guess. My R9 Pro is on Android 15 right now, but apparently version 16 is already out. Outside of Japan though, this phone does not want to get the update for some reason. Apparently, you need to use a Japan VPN and factory reset the phone to kind of trick it into thinking that it's in Japan to get the update. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, guys. Okay, so the R9 Pro is shaping up to be a very potent flagship contender, worthy of your money, even if it's lesser known, right? Well, here's where I cover the cons of this device. For some reason, Sharp equipped this flagship with a mid-range SoC, the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3. Not the 8 Gen 3, the 8S Gen 3. Now this chip is still a decent performer, and Sharp does include a pretty good game mode that can lower the game resolution to eke out more frame rate should you need it. But in some regards, the GPU on this chip performs even worse than in Sharp's previous flagship, the R8 Pro with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And the 8S Gen 3, it also gets really hot when running intensive tasks, as well as not being the most efficient out there. So we kind of went backwards in terms of overall performance. Sharp is also lagging behind on the battery front, giving this phone a basic 5000 mAh cell that they've been using like ever since 2021. I get maybe 6-ish hours of screen on time on this phone. It's decent, but I think other flagships will surpass this battery life. Previous phones from Sharp also had power user features like headphone jack as well as the micro SD card slot, which I personally think is very important for a phone that can output 50 megapixel files, raw files too, that come in 100 megabytes each. Now, although the R9 Pro has a pretty good 512 gigs of storage, I very quickly filled up the internal memory from all of those photos and videos, and Sharp has removed the micro SD card slot. But in a really weird, contradicting move, they actually made the SIM slot easily removable without a tool like the Xperia phones. I really don't know what's going on with this. Oh, and you can also kiss the headphone jack goodbye also for no good reason. Pricing on this phone is also kinda whack. Because it is a rare device, you pretty much can't afford secondhand units for a good price at all. And the flagships that came out at the same time of this phone back in 2024, they can now be had for a much lower price. Usually, Sharp would partner with Leica to make an even more expensive lights version of their flagship phones, but they kind of tapped out on this one, only assisting with equipping a Vario Summicron system on the cameras with no external modifications. And I know for a fact that I would have loved this phone with like silver aluminum rails. That would have been so nice, even if the price would probably be exorbitant. And you know what stings the most? I want to say that Sharp has improved all of this in the R10 Pro, but sadly, there is no successor to this device. After the R9 Pro, Sharp has been eerily silent about any future flagship releases. And with dwindling sales as well as the current RAM shortage, it is very likely that the R9 Pro will be the last ever flagship from Sharp to be released. I really hope that I'm wrong about this, but if nothing else, I am holding a very impressive and also expensive piece of Japanese phone history. So, are you using a Sharp R9 Pro? Or maybe another flagship? Tell me about your experience with these high-end phones in the comments. Join my Patreon for extra photography of these videos and get my image presets, which aim to give the stale photos of modern digital cameras some vintage vibes and a bit more personality. Join the channel members to get early access to videos just like these. And if nothing else, I hope to see you on the next video. Bye bye.